Hi guys, so I wanted to go over what our next assignment is going to be. We are going to do another PowerPoint that's going to look at paychecks and what we see when we receive a paycheck and some of the forms we have to fill out to get those and some other important information. So with this PowerPoint that I'm going to walk us through, there is a worksheet, quote unquote, that goes with it. The worksheet's going to be online again, just like our last one was. It looks just like this. So as you go through my video of the PowerPoint, you can either stop and pause, and then all you're going to do is fill in your information there. Or you can just wait and do it at the end. I've included the slide numbers that you find the answers on, just so that you can kind of stay organized with it and not get too far behind. So anything that is in green is going to be what I'm asking you to answer to complete the worksheet. All right. So have that pulled up, ready to go, and let's start talking about paychecks. So I did not make this PowerPoint. It's a little cheesy, but I do enjoy it. It is titled Planet Paycheck. So welcome to Planet Paycheck. While visiting Planet Paycheck, the vast world of paychecks will be explored. So again, as we go through, make sure you fill out that green information. If you have to stop and pause this video and go back, you're welcome to do that. All right, so first job. Miss Patty's paycheck has just received her first paycheck from her new job. Super awesome. The paycheck amount seems a little lower than what she had figured out. How could that be? So there's a lot of reasons this might happen, but something that we always tend to not consider when we're thinking about our jobs, say we get paid $15 an hour, and I'm like, well, I work 3 hours this week, and I multiply that by 15, but then my paycheck is less than that total amount. The reason being often is that it's from taxes. So taxes are defined as required charges of citizens by local, state, and federal government. They're deducted from all employees' paychecks, and they're used to provide public goods and services such as schools, roads, police stations, all of that. The only time you're not going to get taxed is if you are working under the table. So starting a new job. To receive a paycheck, an employee must first complete a W-4, which is your withholding allowance certificate. This is something that you use when you fill out your taxes. It determines the amount of money that's withheld for taxes that you can eventually get back later when you file your taxes during April. So starting a new job, you're going to first complete your Form I-9. We talked about a couple of these in your employment document Kahoot challenge. So the Form I-9, as most of you might know by now, it's used to prove the identity of the people and avoid hiring people who are not U.S. citizens. So that's proving that you are a U.S. citizen. You have to provide 2 of the following. So these are identifications. It can be passports, driver's license, U.S. military cards, social security cards, birth certificate. All of these are formal things that prove your identity. Another form we have is your W-2, so wage and tax statement. This states amount of money earned and taxes paid throughout the previous year. So this tells you what you paid, and you use it to file your income taxes on April 15th during tax day. So that's information that your employer is required to give you so that you can complete your taxes. Individuals may be exempt from filing federal withholding if they make less than a certain amount each year. So some methods for paying employees, some of you might be familiar with them. The most common is a paycheck, so this paper check with a stub on it. It's the least secure payment method because the employee is responsible for handling the paycheck, so they're responsible for that paycheck to get into their bank account. So you have the paper copy, you have to either take a photo of it or bring it to your bank and make sure it actually gets into your account so you can use the money. The next one's a direct deposit. This is generally the easiest and what a lot of people work with. What happens is your employers direct deposit the employee's paycheck into your bank account. So I give my employer my information, and then they're able to take my paycheck and put it right into my account without me having to worry about it. It just comes up every other Friday. And then the next one is a payroll card. I actually hadn't heard of this until last semester when one of my students told me that he works off of this. Basically, what a payroll card is it's an electronically carries the balance of your paycheck. So you have a card that has all your money of this on it. This is used when you don't have a bank account. This is a way to deal with it, but something that comes with those, which we'll talk about in a second, is there's fees. So with a paycheck, some pros. The employee controls when the check is deposited, and the con, it's least secure because you're responsible for getting it to the bank, and if you forget, you could lose that money because it never gets to your bank. A direct deposit, some pros. There's no direct handling of the check. The employee knows exactly when you'll be paid. There's not really many cons to direct deposit. And then your payroll card, some pros. The wages are automatically loaded on that card. You don't have to have a bank account. But then some cons, may charge fees for using the card. So I think when my student was telling me about this, he was saying that with every purchase that he makes with that card, it charges him $1 to $2 extra. So it really can add up in fees, like you kind of saw on our last video that was in our last worksheet. So there's definitely some cons to that. Items on a paycheck stub include your personal information, so that's your name, your address, social security number, or an employee ID. It also has your pay period, so the length of time which an employee's wages are calculated. For example, my pay period is every 2 weeks. I'm paid bi-weekly. Some people get paid weekly. Some people get paid monthly. So that's your pay period. Again, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Reading a pay stub, the first thing we'll look at is the year to date. So the total of all the deductions that have been withheld from an individual's paycheck from January 1st to the last day of the pay period indicated on the pay stub. So this tells you all the money that has been taken in taxes from the beginning of the year until that current date. So that's your year to date. Your gross income is the total amount of money earned before the payroll withholding. So this is the money you received before taxes were taken out. So this is the money that you calculate when you say, okay, I have $15 an hour times 3 hours. That's your gross income. It's not considering your taxes. So again, hourly wage is calculated by multiplying the number of hours by the working wage. So an example of gross income here. Miss Patty's paycheck worked at Terrific Tacos for $6 an hour for 15 hours a week. What is her gross income? We're going to multiply the hours worked by the wage. So she's going to receive $90 a week. What if Miss Patty's paycheck's gross income for 2-week pay period? So if she gets paid bi-weekly, we know that 15 hours times 6 hours, or $6 an hour, is 90 a week. So we would multiply 90 by 2, and we're going to get 180 for 2 weeks. All right. So reading your pay stub. The next one is the net income. This is the money that's left after your deductions from your gross income. So this is the money that's actually going into your bank account. This is referred to as your take-home pay. This is the money you have to spend right away. Net income. So if we look at Miss Patty's net income, her gross income we said was 180. Her withholdings from tax is 1410, 545, and 1377. So those things that are taken out of her bank account, out of her paycheck, comes down to her net income. So if we subtract those 3 numbers from 180, we'll get her net income, which is going to be 146.68. This is the money that she puts into her bank account and can go spend at wherever, Marshall's, the grocery store. I'm really missing Marshall's and Target at this time, but I don't know if that's just me. All right, payroll withholdings. The amount of money subtracted from the gross income for taxes, it's typically about 30% of your paycheck. So that's easy to keep in mind when you are maybe setting a budget. I know when I first got out of college, I was very stressed about the money I would have, and I was trying to calculate a budget based on how much I knew I was going to get paid and how much I was spending in rent and all of that. So it was really helpful to know that 30% of my paycheck is going to be taken away, because then I can account for that and I'm not accounting for money that I won't actually have at that time. So your withholding tax is the amount required by law for an employer to withhold from your earned wages to pay taxes. So this money is withheld to pay for your state taxes. Your FICA, which is your Federal Insurance Contribution Act, it's also known as Social Security. It helps provide retirement income for the elderly and pays disability benefits. So the money that's taken from us right now is help paying for the retired people. Ideally, that's supposed to cycle over. We'll see with the state of our economy if by the time I'm retiring and you're retiring, if that's around still. But that's the purpose of it now. And then we have our Medicare employee tax or Medicare. These are healthcare programs for elderly or disabled people. So this is a good example of our sample pay stub. What I would encourage you to do on your slide there, it has the same picture here. Kind of look through that and identify where those different things that we just talked about are on the actual pay stub. Remember to review. It's important to review your paycheck to identify any possible mistakes. If a mistake is found, contact the employer for clarification. So maybe they accidentally typed an extra zero, maybe there was no decimal point. Things do come up, so you do want to make sure that you're getting paid the correct amount of money. I had this happen for me. I was working for a temp agency over my winter break when I was in school, and they came back and claimed that they had paid me more than I had worked. And with that, they were saying, we'll take you to court if you don't give us this $100 back, whatever it was. So you really want to make sure that you're reviewing it as you go. My argument to them is that I have a clear written down example of the hours that I worked, and they did pay me correctly. So it's important to make sure that you're covering your back, you're checking these things, because you don't want someone to come back and say, we gave you too much money, give us back that money, or to not pay you the money that you earned. So thank you for visiting Planet Paycheck. Again, as you go through this, if I went too fast, I did go a little speedy. Just pause, fill in the information, and then keep going. I think that'll be a lot easier than waiting till the very end. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I really miss you guys. I hope everything's going well. Please reach out if there's anything I can do to help you guys.